Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara. Here we talk about TV shows. The year is 2021 and the name of the show is Babylon 5. It's season 1 episode 22. It is the season finale of season 1, kind of a milestone. It's called Chrysalis, so full spoilers for the episode as always. And yeah, a lot of stuff goes down in this one. A lot of big stuff set up for the future. Some of which is going to alter very drastically very quickly because Sinclair's not going to be around. But that's okay. That's okay. But yeah, a lot of big ideas to talk about. And another big Londo. Londo really feels like he's not just because we like him or because he's funny. Because I would say that his plot in this is not funny. Like he's got a good plot in this episode, but it's not a funny happy plot. It's a series character bit of work. But he's so at the core of everything that's going on with these shadow beings and shadow ships, and you know, obviously Jakar's connected through him as well, and then so much going on. But I guess I'll just start with some simple question. Tara, how did you feel about the season finale?
I thought it was quite good. Some really great payoffs. I really missed Jakar. He was, you know, he showed up. I was like, yeah, man, it's been a while.
It has
since he's been here.
Because there was a lot of other characters who did sort of like go away for episodes at a time, but Jakar wasn't really one of them. Jakar tended to never miss more than one at a time until the last like half dozen, and then all of a sudden he was just gone for an extended time. I don't know if that was like a real life thing that meant the actor was away for a while, so they had to just kind of do without, or something.
Maybe the makeup's just so awful that he's like, I'm only gonna do like a third of the episodes. That's it.
I have no idea why, but hopefully it doesn't limit his inclusion going forward because he's a great character. And hell, just starting this episode with Londo and Jakar yelling at each other about a dispute. As you know, that's how we started not the gathering, but it's how we started the first episode of the show. So it kind of has a full circle feeling to it in a weird way. But they're disputing over Quadrant 37, is what they say. And there's an armed military outpost there, which is now upset if any Centauri ship comes near it. So they're disputing over that airspace. Londo says this is neutral space. You know, we agreed on this, but Jakar claims that was under duress. That was signed, so therefore it is not valid. And this is the core debate. But very quickly, Mr. Morden, the character who we've only seen in the one episode so far, Signs Importance.
Signs Importance.
Also starring Garrett Graham as Lord Kiro. Yes.
We'll never forget his name.
I love that every time Mr. Morden shows up now, you can be like, yes, and he premiered in what episode? Ah, yeah.
Signs Importance starring Garrett Graham. Starring.
Starring, yes. Starring. Just think, now we know that Garrett Graham, technically in that episode, also had like 6 dangly penis tentacles. He also had that. Just FYI.
Good for him.
Which I guess means the female Centauri have just 6.
It's been established.
Yeah. I don't know if it's actually referred to them as vaginas or whatever, but yes, 6 openings.
Maybe they don't need all 6.
Yeah, we were getting too much into the biology here, but when they're mating for the purpose of creating a child, like, do all 6 need to be connected, or like any one of them could do the job?
I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like ducks. Like ducks have like fake vaginas.
Oh, there's trap vaginas.
Yeah.
Decoys.
There is, which is funny because ducks are used as decoys anyway.
Well, which begs the question: if some of them are decoys, like the ducks, the Centauri ladies know which ones are the decoys and which ones are the real deal? Do they all?
Maybe it's different for each one. Yeah, I don't know.
Do they all function? Is it just when you're trying to get?
Maybe it's like a spinning wheel, like you don't know which one it's going to land on. That's the real one.
Yeah, like when they try to get pregnant, you know, and they're going to, it's like, oh, they have to rule out each one by one until they find the right one. That's the one that's got the connection.
I don't know.
There's a little biological Doc Brown just with the cables, like putting them together like Back to the Future to make sure that's the one that will flow to the the
This is all very important.
Yes, this is all very important stuff. So, where was I? Yes, Mr. Morden.
Mr.
Morden shows up. Because Londo's like, we're going to have to give up another. I'm going to have to tell Centauri, Prime to give up this area of space willingly to avoid conflict. It's not worth the war. Yeah. And he's not happy about it. And then Mr. Morden shows up and says, "Hey, can you come and see me, Ambassador, in the garden?" And we get I don't think we've seen this particular part of the garden before. This sort of hedge mage kind of area.
It's enormous. I'm surprised it's there.
I'm all for them trying to show the scale off of the show, or the station, I should say, a little bit.
I mean, I love a good labyrinth, but like it just seems, I don't know, unnecessary. Hey,
the gardeners on Babylon 5 have been working overtime this past season, all right, getting everything up to stuff.
They must be real bored.
They're on a space station. What else can they do?
Is there like a space palace, like a king that's like, give me a labyrinth in front of my palace?
Yeah, it's the mantis that.
My favorite character,
the Black Market.
Than Lord Kira.
Obviously, don't have to even specify that.
He's not coming back though, so.
He's dead. Will come back. He's dead. He's deader than dead.
I know. He's the deadest.
And basically says, "Hey, we'll take care of that Quadrant 37 thing." And what I love about this, because obviously when he first hears from Morden, Londo's very like, "Oh, he did me a huge favor. Yeah, I'll come and see you. No problem." He's like, "Oh, thanks for rescuing the eye back in the day." Yada yada. But when Morden just casually says, "Oh, we'll take care of Quadrant 37 for you," immediately Londo, proving that he actually is quite smart and is not just this gullible sap who'll just sort of go along with this, immediately says, "What do you mean you'll just take care of it?" Because I think it's worth remembering when we go back to Signs of Importance with the eye and like them bringing that back. Londo didn't know exactly what happened. He didn't know the ship blew up. He didn't know how they got it back. Once it left the station, he didn't really know any of the circumstances around the events. Whereas here, it's like, wait, you're going to take care of this military base that has 10,000 people on it? Mm-hmm. Like, how are you going to do that?
Right,
exactly?
But I mean, Morden also picked Londo because he had no regard for the life of that race.
Which he kind of refers back to later, when... And this is the interest, because we were talking in the two-parter about Londo's, his ethical code and, like, his own kind of soul, if you will, and the idea that he's going to be pulled, to and from. And I think I kind of, what I love about this episode with Londo is that when they do show up, we get this sequence of the shadow ships appearing and just destroying the base, the ships, everything. And we find out that 10,000 people, most of whom, obviously there's a staff for the military base, but a lot of that 10,000 are just civilians, Narn civilians. That Londo comes to see Morden and he's furious. He's like, "How could you do that? You said you'd take care of it, but you killed 10,000 Narn." And he's like, 10,000, a million? What difference does it make? You don't care.
I think it's more like he doesn't seem furious. He seems like panicked. Like this is almost he's so overwhelmed with I might be responsible for this. Like he's not really reacting in a.
No, you're right. Furious was the wrong word. It wasn't really what I meant. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like he seems really distraught about the whole thing. Like I didn't know that would mean this.
I guess actually the word I should use is horrified. He's horrified that what's happened, and he's horrified that he has something to do with it. And
not just that, but he went after they had their talk about, he'll take care of it for me. Like he went and told the Centauri Prime or whatever, like, "I got this under control, don't worry about it." So he's going to be either blamed for it or given credit for it.
It sounds like giving credit. I mean, Morden, when he sees him the second time, says, they've noticed you. They're happy, they're thrilled that you've taken care of this without starting a war. The scene where he tells Veer, though, to tell Centauri Prime that he'll take care of it, I do kind of love Veer's reaction, where he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Ambassador. I thought you'd lost your mind, or maybe I'd slipped into an alternate dimension." He gets really snarky with him, which I kind of liked.
Yeah, it's good to see Veer. Also, we don't really get a lot of him this season either.
No.
It does feel like a good season finale though, because we just get so many people in it. I mean, Ivanova doesn't really have much to do. It's mostly centered around Gara Baldi's storyline, but like everybody really gets their moment to wrap things up or leave things for the next
Hey, even
next episode.
Sinclair's girlfriend is back for a little bit.
I was surprised. I forgot about her.
We'll talk about that marriage proposal in a second. But to stay on this modern stuff for a bit, so Londo clearly feels guilt and is horrified at what's happened here. The actual reality, because obviously he talks a big game. That's why Morden picked him, was because when he asked him what he wanted back in that episode, he's like, I want the glory days, I want to crush the Narn. But he's actually, and this is like a lot of people, they'll talk a big game about big dark things, but once the actual reality of it hits them, they're like, well, no, I'm not a monster. I don't actually want to hurt innocent people. That's not really what this is.
Yeah, but now that, I mean, the pieces have been set in motion, who knows how he's going to take it in the next season. I mean, I'm sure Londo is a good guy, so he's going to be mortified by all of it, but...
And that's the beautiful thing. Him being mortified makes us really want to root for him still. And then also, the big capper in this is that he goes to just sit at Gara Baldi, you know, in medbay. He just wants to go and stay there and like wait with Ivanova. And we'll get to that plot, obviously, in a second, but the idea that he shows up and just says, I'm going to wait with you. He's an annoying man, but I would miss him. And he stays there with him. So the show is repeatedly doing a great job of showing us that Londo does have a heart and is a sympathetic being, and that him talking himself inadvertently into this alliance with Morden and whoever he represents is, you know, like almost this great mistake from his mouth in a weird way. And you know, again,
well, I mean, this is all probably Lord Kiro's fault, played by the actor Garrett Graham, because he's the whole reason he was all pent up about that and talked to Morden about, you know, crushing the Narn was because Lord Kiro was talking about how the good old days were like we used to be able to get what we want or take what we want, and we were on top and everyone feared us, and now look at us, we were cowards and we have to come up with bureaucratic agreements, and you know, this is not the way we were supposed to be. And you know, Londo was talking him down, but really deep down inside, like, he would have liked to have the good old days, or at least he thinks he would have.
Yeah, I think that's the way I'd put it. He thinks he does.
But in the moment, he did. And so when Borden's like, what do you want? He's like, I want all the Narn dead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes to say that just because you get angry at one moment and say something you don't mean, or you think you mean, but really when you stop to actually process what you've said, you don't actually mean it. Because I would say that this, in a really neat way, it shows the dangers of what just like... I'll compare it to like modern day online stuff where like people like hate groups or not even hate groups, but just people talk online about their political beliefs, and it'll kind of grow and gestate. It'll become kind of maybe more of a hate thing, and then all of a sudden it goes to a point where suddenly things are actually starting to happen. Like this is starting to actually support other people or groups who want to take action that is severe, and you hope that most of them go, oh shit, I may have helped this go along because I said something or because I participated in something, and so on and so on. But I do think there's a little bit of that in here. Obviously it's more acute and it's more honed in one character who's said something really bad and it's led to all this.
Well, yeah, because he's making a deal with somebody who has enormous amounts of power that he didn't realize. Yeah,
and we get glimpses, and I think it's very clear that the beings that we see with Morden at the end of the episode, and they're clearly playing Londo. They don't care about Londo. He's a pawn to them. It's very clear as he's talking to them. But they have, I'll describe it as the Predator like camouflage tech, but with like the shadow.
But they still look like insects.
Yes, they have. Well, the ships I was going to describe as like being spiky spiders. That's what the ships look like to me. Spiky spiders.
Yeah, or like a sea urchin.
They look
spikes.
Oh, what do you call it? Is it the arachnids? I think as an alien enemy in XCOM that the shape reminded me of. That's what I was trying to think of. But I'd say, but if you remember the Minbari like seer, she called them the Shadows, and I can see why she'd call them that based on like this appearance at the end, because they have like a shadow in the middle of the camouflage that's kind of there. So, but even just getting a glimpse of this feels like a big deal. It's like, oh, okay. We're teasing stuff, and Londo being at the center, and I think him being so likable and us, you know, so it's kind of what I said in the two-parter, but like us being attached to him and wanting him to be good, and this showing us that he is actually quite a good person. In fact, the opening scene of this that starts off Garibaldi's plot thematically ties into this, because this guy dies. He's dying. He gets to Garibaldi and says they're going to kill him, but he dies before he can finish saying whatever he's saying. And Garibaldi's plot's about uncovering the conspiracy or the mystery behind this death. But one of the things that Garibaldi says when he's like, this guy's dying in medbay, and Sinclair and Ivanova are there, Garibaldi's explaining who this is, and he's like, oh, he's not a bad guy. He just he was down in his luck and he fell in with the wrong people. He's not an evil person. And everything he says kind of applies to Londo, in that he's not an evil person, but he's been sort of taken in by the wrong crowd, effectively.
I mean, yeah, literally.
Yeah. So that's a neat little connection between them.
I also love the scene where after when Jakar gets the news and he's trying to figure out, like, with Natoth, like, who could have done this.
Yeah, I love this scene too. Yeah.
And then he goes, there's another race out there we don't know about.
I love that.
Like, that's the only conclusion we can have.
Yeah, he runs down the others and he's like, well, the humans wouldn't do this. Centauri don't have the balls. He didn't say that line, but that's effectively what he says. The Minbari wouldn't do it. They
wouldn't be interested, yeah.
The Ambassador Kosh's race, the Vorlons, they don't care. He just says they don't care. Like, why would they do it? And he's like,
they're above all this.
Yeah, all the other races we see on the station, like, they're all too small and don't have the power to pull off something like this. So the only explanation is that there's something else out there. There's another player. There's another race that we've not encountered yet.
He says it with, like, we should be worried.
Yeah, and I think this neatly ties back into, remember when he was telling this to Sinclair's girlfriend back in that episode where about, you know, he's both terrified and delighted that there's still, like, mysteries out there. I think he takes this quite seriously, and I love his reactions to this. And he's got a couple of funny bits. Like, we know that he likes Earth ladies. He digs the Earth chicks. He has, like, Sinclair goes to see him, and, like, 3 prostitutes just come out of his bedroom,
and he comes out in, like, a robe.
Yeah, looking all suave. He's in a good mood. He's like, "Oh, Sinclair, what do you want a drink? I'll give you a drink."
We know he likes the human ladies.
I mean, I can't really hold it against him. I mean, I'm into human ladies, I suppose. So I mean, I can't really hold it against him that much.
The top doesn't do anything for you?
I'm not going to say for sure.
Mean.
I'm not going to say for sure that I'd turn her down, but no, on a gut reaction, no, I'm not into Nata.
I understand.
But I mean, the same with Sinclair is just kind of like, oh, we're at a crossroads, and you can make the more diplomatic choices here and lead us down a good path. And that's kind of what this episode is. It's like, oh shit, we're entering a dark phase where there's going to be a lot of things because all of the bad choices are made. And hell, even Kosh, when he comes to see Sinclair at the end of the episode, is like, it has begun. Like, you know, we're at the start of whatever we're going through. We're just at the start of it. So it's really interesting.
This whole season has just been a precursor for the next one, I guess.
I think that's true. I think season 1's often seen in this show as the prelude to the real story, which is like 2, 3, and 4. Just
like the first 3 seasons of Discovery.
Yeah, but in Discovery's case, we're just hoping it finally does something good in season 4. We're like, please, Discovery, don't be shit. Like it. So yeah, Londo stuff, Jakar stuff. I think Jakar leaves the station because he's got suspicions about the attack that he's going to have to investigate. And that's basically it. But I like the Jakar who it starts off the episode with his usual Shakespearean anger. He's like, "Ah, damn you, Malari," and he's like all that. I like that for the rest of the episode. Every time we encounter him, he's very reserved. He thinks very clearly. After the attack, when he runs into Ivanova, and this is another post Garibaldi he's been shot scene where he runs into Ivanova on one of the the lifts, or not even the lift because they have lifts as well, but the more little tram things they've got that go up and down the station.
Yeah, that goes to like the center of the station.
And he's like, I'm sorry to learn about Mr. Garibaldi, and she's like, yeah, I'm sorry to hear about, Quadrant 37, the military base. And he has this it's like, I know our races have had our difference, but I really hope that we can both find we can both find justice for today. It's been a sad day for both of us. And it's a very, again, reserved, calm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's also talking about a much bigger event that happens too.
Oh, of course, yeah. He's talking about the president, the assassination as well.
Yeah.
I do kind of like that. I mean, obviously, Delenne's too busy with their thing, but I like that so many other characters, when they hear about Garibaldi, like offers like some thought about it. Like people care. People seem to care around the ship that Garibaldi's in danger of dying, and it's it's kind of a nice thing because he is kind of dislikable. I think, I mean, Londo kind of sums it up. He's an annoying man, but I will miss him. So that's neat. That's neat. So that's Shakar's thing. Do you want to talk about Gara Baldi stuff then? And then obviously from that, the president.
No.
What would you rather talk about instead then? One more Garrett Graham. Can we...
I mean, no, I'm just not going to explain it like you are, and there's a lot going on.
Sure. Well, I mean, you have the mystery. He goes to talk to some of the homeless people down the lower decks, and traces it to this guy in the casino, who he explains it by talking about his gun, like how only like the top secret operatives from Earth Force don't get like serial numbers on their gun, and the guns are like made like that part of the gun's made out like a diamond or something like that, so it can't be carved or taken away.
I don't think I remember this.
No.
Okay.
That was definitely yeah. There was a whole explanation where he was talking to. I can't remember who he was talking to, but he talked about how every gun has like a number somewhere on it, and it's
got like a serial number.
Yeah, but
so you can trace it.
But it's etched in like diamonds, so it's not easy to remove. And the only people who get blank ones are like, I was basically thinking of like the operative from Firefly in Serenity, like the top secret, like no one's supposed to know they exist. They're shadow operatives kind of thing.
I see.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I compared something to Firefly. You brought up Garrett Graham like 5 times in this episode. I can say Firefly.
Yeah,
once.
But he's important to this episode. He's the reason everything happens. He's the reason this show exists.
Do you know what? Obviously, this is batshit the way you're trying to make this all go back to Garrett Graham. However, there's enough of a thin thread there that it's not completely untrue. And you're clinging to it.
Sure. I mean, this whole season is called Signs of Importance, which was his episode.
Oh, yes. That's Garrett Graham's so bored. But so this guy doesn't want to be arrested. Gara Baldi takes him in anyway. Not that anyone wants to be arrested, but he's very like arrogant about it. It's like, this is a waste of my time, but fine if I have to go. But he gets out the cell. No one knows how. Although later it's pretty obvious that
and his 2 goons also got out.
Yeah. It's very obvious later, of course, because one of Garibaldi's men, who's an actor we've been seeing as one of the security force throughout the season. We have? Yeah, we've seen his face before. I thought
he looked a lot like Morden, but it was like hard to like. At first, I thought, is that him?
No, I've definitely seen him. I don't know how often we've seen him. We've definitely seen him in that uniform before, because there's 2 security people other than Garibaldi that I recognize. It's him and the guy that's like bald. Right.
Yeah, the First Blood guy. He's in First Blood, I think.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay. I didn't recognize him, but I believe you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, honestly, like I thought he looked so much like Morden that I thought they were the same person at first. Like maybe really? he's another. I don't know. He's like working his way into the system, trying to play the game from inside. Also,
I could buy the related. I never confused them, but
I mean, I figured out by the end that they were different people. But yeah. I thought they just look so much alike to me.
Well, so obviously Garibaldi finds this equipment that we're going to smuggle, and it's like blockers for frequencies and stuff like that, and transmitters, and he kind of. My only complaint about the episode really is that he has a really, really awkward bit of dialogue here that really stuck out to me as being bad. It's when these are all set to the frequency that not Air Force, Space Force One,
Earth Force
1.
It's like Earth Force Gold Code or something, like only the highest levels of.
But he's looking at it, like, this is the channel that Earth Force 1 uses. Why would anyone want to? Oh my god! And it came off so cheesy.
They're gonna kill the president.
I'm like, what? Like I feel like as soon as it says these are Earth Force 1, oh shit! Like I would have just had him like have reaction to that immediately and then just run off. Like just
stroke off. Run away.
That doesn't make any sense. So that's like you say to someone.
Okay, well.
Stroke off. Yeah. No, the equivalent would be stroke. If it's a stand-in for an
that's
F-bomb,
the only swear word we know that's in here.
If it's a stand-in for the F word, then it would be O Stroke.
Right.
Or Mother Stroker.
That's true. I love it. This is a very important moment, though.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, the scene after this is great because he runs into, because he does call Sinclair first. It says, "Hey, I'm going to meet you." This is like
on his little hand intercom device sticker.
Code Ultraviolet, which I assume just means the top of the top. This is serious.
Yeah, it sounds cool. Yeah. Ultraviolet.
But he runs into the guys that he arrested, and then it turns out that Mr. Villainy, like the other security guys with it, he told to wait by this cargo, shoots him. I mean, we see him make a call, so we know just beforehand that he's evil, but...
right. Plus, he's like an extra that has lines all of a sudden, so it's like, okay, this guy's important.
Yeah. That's something that I think every show like this suffered from, though, up until the 2000s.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he shoots Gara Baldi in the back, and it's pretty dire. And that's not a critique. I mean, it's pretty dire. I guess it's good in the sense that it's dire. It feels quite dramatic that he goes down, and it's like, oh shit, Gara Baldi's dead.
Yeah, then has to like crawl over to the elevator once everybody's gone.
Yeah, it makes his way up to the New Year's party, which someone mentioned in the comments actually. What one of the previous episodes, that apparently this is like a thing, is that throughout the seasons, they more or less all end around like New Year's, so that it's always, so it's going to be 22:59. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So it's going to be 22:59 for season 2, which makes sense.
Yeah. I like it.
It's neat.
Also, that means the big events always happen on New Year's Eve, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they go all the way up to New Year's every time, but you're right. But I mean, that's the same though. It's like, see if you watch network TV that have big things around the finales, they always happen in May because that's when the finales always happen. And there was, I mean, the CW TV, like the superhero shows, like they have a lot of problems, but I'll give them credit because there was a joke like quite late on one of the shows where it goes, "Oh, the city's in danger, must be May," and I was like, that was actually really funny because it's always May.
That is funny. Did you have a different intro this time?
Different intro? I did not.
For me, it went into like a smaller window.
Oh.
For the intro.
Oh no! Well, no, I had that too. But basically, what you're telling me. So, are you telling me that
the aspect ratio changed for?
Especially 4:3.
Just for the intro.
No, but the rest. Surely the rest of it. Was it still widescreen for the rest of the episode?
It was like having black bars on both the sides and up and down.
Yes, during the intro, but the rest of the episode was the black bars on the sides.
I don't know. You know I don't pay attention.
What do you mean you don't know? How could you not notice if there's black bars on the sides or not?
I don't know. I get into the show.
Right, so what I think has happened here, right, is that the versions on Amazon changed a few episodes ago for me, and you're watching via Google, right? That's where you bought them. So I think the Google versions have now changed as well, and the reason why that's happening is because the show's now in 4:3, and the upside to that is that it doesn't zoom in for the effect shot, so the actual spaceship CG looks better now than it used to, which is good. But
yeah.
But one of the effects of that is that it goes letterboxed for the intro, so the intro is in widescreen, but because we were watching a version that was already widescreen, it never did that before. It just stayed full screen, effectively, in widescreen. So I think that's what you're noticing. What's amusing me though is that you didn't notice the rest of the episode had changed the aspect ratio from like all the previous season that you'd watched. But that's fine. Whatever.
Well, we don't know for sure that that's the reason, but yes. I did not notice.
That's my guess. I mean, it changed on iTunes first. It's then changed on Amazon. I know HBO Max is the same. So I assume that Google's just followed suit and just been a little bit later.
I'll follow through on this when we're done.
Sure.
Check it out.
Yes. All right, we're talking about Gara Baldi.
Baldi's been shot.
And the
His New Year's
thing.
Party. And Dr. Franklin is doing surgery now.
I want to make one point on the New Year's thing, is I don't think I've ever seen a sci-fi show set in space celebrating New Year's, and I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
It was kind of, this is a very normal like present day celebration that you don't usually see on, like, I can't think of a Star Trek episode where they're on the Enterprise going, Happy New Year's! Like, it's gonna be...
Yeah, I don't think I can either.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
but they don't have Christmas episodes either.
Actually, there was a point, I might have been in the last episode actually, where someone arranged a meeting and they said, we'll meet you at blah 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 Earth Standard Time. And I thought, what's the Earth Standard Time? Earth has like tons of time zones. And then I thought, oh, it's probably just UK time because that is the zero.
The Greenwich.
Yeah. Everything's plus or minus from the UK time. So I guess I don't know why. I guess maybe because
you guys are so special.
Yeah. Our time's the real time. You're just behind. In Australia, they're just weirdos who are in the future. How dare they? How dare they be in the future? It was a small point when he said Earth Standard Time. Like, well, you say that as if Earth has a standard time. Earth doesn't have it. Maybe in the future everyone's agreed what Earth Standard Time is, but it stuck out to me.
I feel like that's come up before in maybe a movie review.
Oh, maybe.
Or something. Where they were talking about Earth time. Oh, it was the Twilight Zone episode.
Ah.
Where they said, in Earth time, it is this time. We're like, Earth time? Earth has 24 time zones. Which one? It was in one of the new episodes of the Twilight Zone.
Hey, is it actually 24 or did you just pull that number out your ass?
I'm pretty sure it's 24.
Oh, okay. Neat.
Does that make sense?
I don't know. Is there literally a time zone for every hour of the day? I don't know if there is. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's 24.
It sounds believable.
Let's move on.
Hey, I was just asking to compliment that you knew that because you were smart, but so yeah. Anyway, so but before he goes out of surgery though, he tells Sinclair, "They're going to kill the president." So he rushes up, and we see news snippets throughout the episode that he's doing the first year of his 5-year term. He's doing a sort of tour of all the outer planets. He's going to Io right now, and he's going to make a speech on New Year's Eve from Io, and that's where he is when the ship blows up. And I do kind of love that they don't save him. I was like, because I was like, okay, he's found out there's a conspiracy to kill the president. I thought, oh, okay, so we're going to save the president by the end. No big deal. It'll make for a fun, tense episode. The fact that the president just died within 5 minutes later, and everyone on the bridge is watching this, and it's this, oh shit, a major terrorist act just happened, and I was like, okay. And we know that there's this Earth First movement that's been mentioned all season, and hell, the vice president, who I think is in all this, because his speech at the end, one of the first things he says, we're going to focus on our own, on Earth, and get them through this difficult time. And it was as far as he could go, saying that he sides with Earth First without actually saying anything too dodgy. So, big stuff. Big stuff.
Yeah, big stuff.
Really big stuff.
They've been hinting at this since the very beginning of the show, that this was going to be the big thing that happens. Not the assassination, but there's going to be some sort of coup within the Earth government to overthrow and focus on Earth. Yeah,
I mean, the election results, that was in Midnight in the Fireline. That was episode 1. I mentioned how, not Gara Baldi, Jakar and Londo's fight harking back to that episode, but even this kind of bookends it as well in that sense.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
That's neat. That's neat.
I mean, they've been throwing in little nuggets of this storyline throughout the whole season,
which I like.
Just articles in newspapers and TV programs and stuff.
I like how it's been sprinkled throughout, like that. I love when shows do that and then pay it off with a big kind of. So if you haven't paid attention, you feel rewarded for actually noticing all the little things rather than it being shoved down your throat.
They even sprinkled in some villains and stuff, some one-off villains, to be like, we're just here because we don't like Babylon 5 because it represents unity amongst others, and we should be worrying about Earth. It's too many resource being put into here. Yeah.
So that's a neat big event. Obviously, Sinclair's tied up in that, but he's also tied up a little bit. But the fact that he proposes to Catherine, I think her name is. It's been a while since she's popped up, but
I think so. That sounds right.
This is one of the.
She's a cutie.
This is a delightfully awkward proposal, and I mean that. I mean that in a loving way. That he's so bad at it.
It was cute. It was very cute.
He's like, we've been on and off again for 12, maybe even 15 years now, and every time we're apart, I try to forget you because it'd make things easier, but I never can. And I'm like, this is very. And then it just sort of grumbles, and then goes, "Well, do you want to get married or don't you?"
Yeah, I mean, she clearly knows where he's going.
And
he's he seems like he's embarrassed that he asked, and has his back turned, and she sneaks up on him and hugs him, and they go for a kiss, and it looks like he's crying. So it's cute. It was a sweet scene. I liked it a lot.
When she says yes, he's like, Well, good.
What do you want for dinner?
Yeah, it was like a couple agreeing to get the car washed next week. Do I get the car washed next week? Yeah, all right. What do you want for dinner? Like, do I get married? Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, what do you want for dinner?
May sound good. June.
But it was sweet. And then they asked Gara Baldi to be best man. Ivanova to be maid of honor. So we'll see what they do with this, if they mention any of this. Because I suspect that season 2 is supposed to pick up. At least the plan was to pick up fairly straight after. Because one of the things that we've not mentioned is that the security guy who's evil, he is not found out by the end of the episode. He's like actually really menacingly standing near Gara Baldi all the way up to his last scene. So he's still a factor. He's still in the station. So maybe
does Gara Baldi know that he was the one who shot him?
I don't think he does, because he gets
shot. He shot him in the back.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So no one may actually know that he's compromised.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense.
They may still try to get rid of him, because at the end of the episode, he's still like a coin flip on whether or not Gara Baldi will make it. I mean, we know, but like.
Yeah. I do wonder. It was because honestly, do you know what it made me think of? Actually, obviously, it makes sense that there's some people maybe like who have infiltrated Babylon 5 who agree with these movements, but it felt very Hail Hydra to me. This guy turned out to be working for these people. I think because it's within the government that it's all corrupted. The idea that there's like a coup happening from within is very Hydra. Just to put it in modern nerd terms for people to understand.
Sure. Or just like a modern day American government.
I was trying to. I mean, maybe it's a stupid idea to try and stop this from getting too political, given that Babylon 5 is inherently very political in what it's doing. But
right.
But just try to keep it light. Keep it a little bit light. Because Sinclair's last scene. I know I've skipped over the line stuff. I'll get to that in a second. But Sinclair's last scene, he just sits there with Catherine and says, "Everything's changed. Nothing's the same." It just ends really somber. And again, bookending. Midnight in the Firing Line ended with him watching the TV, the results, and he says something about the results. I can't remember what the line was, but it was very bookended with this, where he, his last scene here is him watching the TV of what's happening, the coverage. So also very neat. Yeah, Delana stuff's interesting because you've been questioning how she gets her hair, and
yes, she turns into a beautiful butterfly.
So, but there's some interesting details with this because she sent Lanier to go speak to Kosh, and Kosh said yes to whatever her request was. We don't know what the request is. Well, I guess we could maybe like assume some things from the next scene, but we don't know at the time what it is. And when she hears the bit yes, she runs off to see Kosh. Turns out Minbari don't have to breathe as often as humans because she only has to take the oxygen once in a while. She just brings up the little face mask. And this sounds actually really bad out of context, but Kosh reveals himself to Delenn. We see a bit of the light, but then obviously it cuts away. We don't get to see.
Which is very enlightening for her.
She's like, she's shocked by this, and she says, "Oh, really? It's true. I will keep my promise," or something to that effect.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a prediction here, right? And admittedly, I don't know which one it is, but I'm going to guess right now that the Vorlons are actually either humans or Minbari from the future or something like that. I think the reason why they've hidden who they are is because we'd recognize what they are, and that's what she's seeing. She's seeing, or something, I don't know.
They are like the next stage of evolution for one of the species that turns into a
admittedly,
that needs a suit.
I acknowledge there's a plot hole with the human side of this because why was Kosh studying human history? That doesn't mean to say that he would definitely know it. I suppose even if he is like a descendant of humans down the line or something. But and I don't even know if there's time travel in this show. It was just the way she reacted to seeing whatever she saw. I was like, is that like a human or something? Is that why she thinks humans are important because humans become Vorlons at some point? And maybe that's why maybe that's why the Vorlons know humans aren't ready for certain things or something.
Maybe that's why what's his name, the other doctor from the Gathering, disappeared.
Yes. Or even like even that line that Kosh has, it has begun. Like, is he saying that because like he knows this from history? It has begun. Like whatever's going to happen, he knows.
Or
it's going
maybe
to happen.
they're Centauri from the future, and that's why.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Like, she's doing the Chrysalis thing in order to go on into the next step of becoming the Vorlon.
You mean Minbari? You said Centauri.
I did, yes. I meant Minbari.
Yeah.
You've done it multiple times. I'm allowed to do it once.
Yes, I've made that mistake. I'm not critiquing. I'm just pointing it out so the comments don't get mad at you. I know what you meant.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So she basically tells Sinclair there's things she's going to tell him. She shows him a thing to prove that, hey, I was there the night in the line, which he already knew. You know, he'd already discovered that from the memories and stuff. But she's
basically like, come and see me and don't take your time with it. And then he forgets.
To be fair, there's a president.
He's got a lot going on.
Yeah. Gara Baldi's died. Well, he's actually missing at that point because when he calls in to say come for this secret meeting and then doesn't show up, it's like, oh shit, Gara Baldi's missing. So there's a period of the episode where he's missing and he's very concerned. And then the president gets assassinated. His mind's very. It's actually Kosh saying that it has begun, and then he says you've forgotten something.
Yeah. And
he's like, shit, Delenn, and he runs to Delenn's quarters, but she's already in Chrysalis by this point, and the web is already around her, and. Even
Lanier's already been crying.
He's crying. He's not even sure exactly what she's going to turn into. He's
holding a glass cupcake candle to her.
Which, at the very least, tells me this is not a thing that most Minbari do. This is like either a first-time thing or a very rare thing that not every Minbari goes through.
Right, because he's asking... Sinclair asks him, what will happen? What is she becoming? And he says, I don't know.
Yeah, and even some of the dialogue she has with Delenn, with Lanier, before she goes in, is very like, you know, I may not come back from this, or I might be so different that it's not really me anymore. It kind of, there's a lot of uncertainty, so clearly this is not something that Minbari do willy-nilly. This is either, if it's not the first time one of them's done this, it's definitely something that's very rare.
It's something that hasn't happened in a while, maybe. Maybe it's only like in scripture, where you need the assistance of someone like of Orlon to do it, and they just don't allow it to happen.
Because she assembles all those triangle things she's got into like a device to make.
Yeah, her cones of Dunshire. They had a purpose.
Yeah, and
crystal cones of Dunshire.
So
they look like a card, a castle.
Tower.
What is it called? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, card castle or card tower. Yeah,
something like that.
House of Cards. Is that what you're trying to say? There you go.
Yeah. You know what I mean. It's late. I'm sleepy.
But to sum up where we end this season, so Gara Baldi's fighting for his life on the medical table. Delenn is in a Chrysalis. Jakar's left the station to investigate things. Londo is mortified that he was responsible, without realizing that's what he was going to do, for 10,000 Narn deaths. The president's been assassinated, and the vice president, who seems to be pro-Earth First and all that jazz, has been sworn in. Who am I missing here? Because there's a lot of...
Dr. Franklin still has the worst bedside manner.
Yes.
After the first guy dies, he's like, well, he's dead. He should have come by sooner, but he didn't, so he's dead.
No, I did notice that. I noticed it was very blunt about how he said it. I mean, no one else seemed to care that much, but Gara Baldi didn't know him. It was, no, this is a shame. And I mean, maybe even the fact that when I said what Gara Baldi describes is kind of describing Londo from what we know about Londo's plot in the rest of the episode. Like, the idea that Gara Baldi would stick his neck out for someone like this, again, sort of enhances their friendship in a little way. Just a touch. Like, oh yeah, he does stick up for people like this. He recognises it in people because he himself is someone who's fallen in hard times and had to fight his way back, and he understands it. There's a sweetness to it, which is nice. So it's a very good episode. I would say it's not the peak of the season. I think that 3-episode run of the 2-parter, and I said I didn't know if there was time travel in it, but technically there was time travel already because Babylon 4 was going through time. I guess what I meant was I don't know if there's time travel coming back. Well, I guess there is because Sinclair came back. Okay, there's time travel. We know there's time travel, right? Negate what I said earlier. We know there's some form of time travel. Yes, but yes, I do think episode 13. I think episode 13 and then that trio of episodes together is where the show has peaked in season 1. But this was a very solid finale. It's definitely next on the list, probably.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, this is like the 4th or 5th best episode of the season. So,
yeah, I mean, we know what the worst are. We don't need to repeat them.
Boxing episode, yes. Yes.
And the one after it, too, was pretty bad.
The only dodgy guest star of this episode might be the homeless guy that Gara Baldi talks to when he's trying to track down whoever's responsible for his death. In the tent. Maybe.
There was a girl also, like, on crates and stuff. Are they called lurkers?
Oh, something like that, yeah.
lurkers. That's what the homeless are called. Or are they talking about something else? Maybe they're talking about a different group of people.
Yeah, but that was it's only had one scene, so it wasn't really a big deal. But it was just, you've made me look for it now, because you've pointed out a couple of times. I'm like, okay, here's our bad guest star for the episode. Who overdoes it?
there's always like one or two, but that's all right. It's part of the charm.
Yeah. No, that's good. It does have a weird structure to the episode though, because when it ended, I was like, wait, we're at the end already. I thought this was still like the middle of the episode. I thought there was going to be like more resolutions, but it makes sense that
there's a cliffhanger for everybody.
Yeah, it's full on cliffhanger TV, which is fine because I know there's more. It's frustrating when you don't know if it's coming back or not yet. And you're like, God, this better get renewed.
I mean, we know there's more, but we know that there's a major change happening, so maybe some of the answers will be a little bit unsatisfying. Like, it's not going. It's going to be like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. It's going to be a big deal next season. And then they resolve it in the first 5 minutes because Sinclair doesn't come back.
The general consensus of the show, though, is that seasons 2, 3, and 4 are the best seasons. So I think even though there might be a disappointment having watched season 1, that some of the Sinclair stuff understandably has to, be changed or altered, is that whatever they do instead is either just as good as what they had planned or perhaps even better. So
sure. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. And from what I've seen, Bruce Boxleitner and other things and in small roles, he seems like he's going to be a good presence. So that'll be our new commander next time.
That'll be good. I like Sinclair. He was very calming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think he grows on you over the season, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't like him in The Gathering, but maybe he was just a little uncomfortable with the role.
He's kind of like Picard in the sense that he's always trying to make sure things happen peacefully, diplomatically. Not to say that he's got the same temperament or he has the same way of doing it, but his fundamental goals are the same. But he's maybe more of a I don't know, more struggling to do it, to keep it together than Picard is. Picard may be like the ideal version of that character because it's Star Trek.
Because he has no personal life.
Yeah, because he has no personal life. And the one time he does have a girlfriend, he's really awkward about everyone finding out that he's even looked at a lady.
Yeah. Poor Vash.
It's like Vash is in the captain's chair. Oh, Picard, you've been over there Picarding, haven't you?
This is not that show.
I know. It's just because that episode was recent on TNG. Because me and Connor are working through that. If you want to see me and Connor go through Next Generation for the first time, we're almost at the end of season 4. Go over.
I don't like that episode very much. Cupid.
Yeah.
It's not very good. Cupid is stupid.
It's not very good. It's not the worst, but it's not the best either. The Drumhead, which was after though, was mwah.
Yeah, that's a fantastic episode.
But yeah, B5 season 1. I mean, season overall. How do you feel? Yeah,
thumbs up.
There's a lot of promise here, and the best of it, which is all. And contrary to what I've seen of season 1 of the X-Files, all the best stuff is all the stuff that's setting up the long-running things as opposed to the standalone stories, which is what I want from a serialized TV show. I want that stuff to be the most exciting part, and I think it's nailed that. So,
yeah, I do really like the show, and I'm happy to keep going. I mean, I know people may already know that you tried doing this show once before. And had asked me to to jump on and do the show with you, catch up. And I gave the show most of season 1, and I thought, I don't know, I'm just not really getting into it. And I didn't want to commit to 5 seasons of it. But I'm glad I gave it a chance now. I changed my mind, and it's a good show.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know what a sweeter point to end on than that is. But by all accounts, season 1 is the rockier season before it hits. I mean, obviously, I've been really enjoying some of the higher points of the season. I think it's clear that we both have, but so it's hard to imagine what the good season is like if this is the rocky one, kinda,
Yeah, I mean, I am sad to lose Sinclair. I understand why he left the show and why it was necessary, and it's a shame that that had to happen, but we are going to lose things like his relationship with Gara Baldi, which is sad. That's a loss.
Yeah, Interesting to see how the new commander integrates with everyone. But we still have Gara Baldi Londo, which is the best romance of the show. So
Sure.
that's the important part. And also Jakar and whatever prostitute happens to be walking past.
Nice.
That is season 1 of Babylon 5. Hopefully you've enjoyed going through this journey with us. And because it just got added to HBO Max within the last couple episodes of our reviews, maybe more people will be trying it because it's now easier to access. Access is the word I was looking for. I said that weird. But
you can access it in excess.
Yes. And if you are mad that we occasionally mispronounce things, then stroke off. So, do you know what?
That's our new catchphrase.
We joked about it the first time they used it, but we forgot about it quite quickly. The fact that they used it a second time means we're never going to stop mentioning it ever again.
Yeah, and it's gonna. I mean, now it's a pattern, so it's gonna come back.
It's like, because later on, not Babylon 5, why did I say Babylon 5? Later on, Battlestar Galactica, a show that I also enjoy from the early 2000s, became very famous for the use of the word frack instead of the normal F-bomb. And it became such a thing that other shows started doing it occasionally. Just not as much, obviously. It wasn't like a constant thing, but
you'd hear it in an episode of 30 Rock.
Yeah, you'd hear it, and you'd be like, okay, it's establishing that at least, if not the character, at least some of the writers are fans of sci-fi because they just use the word frack. But it's just funny how it stroke off never quite hit the same chord and stuck around. But I'm glad to discover it. That said, though, the variant of Mother Stroker is now my favourite version, so expect that to return as well. So thank you very much. You can, of course, like and subscribe and comment below what you think of the episode, the season, our thoughts, and so on. All that stuff helps us out a lot on YouTube. It is kind of how YouTube deems our success and shares us out to more people and recommends us out if more people. So interaction is important. So interact with the buttons and the typings. But you can also support us on Patreon, can't you, Tara?
That's right. If you enjoy our reviews, please check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MelphusTV. And if you donate $1 per month, you'll get access to bonus episodes for other shows we do. And if you donate $5 per month, you will get access to these Babylon 5 reviews 1 week early. You can access them in excess. Thank you.
And you can also catch us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. One final question. How is there a 37th quadrant? I had this thought as the episode was going on. Maybe I don't understand how these things work, but...
Well, maybe they're divided into sections.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then those sections are divided into quadrants.
It's mainly Star Trek's fault because Star Trek has like the 4 big, quadrants. So I was like, how do you have 37? But yeah, maybe there's like 40. And it's just kind of like, yeah, and then everything's split into 4. I don't know. Maybe there's like Sector 37, and then there's like 4 quadrants, and then no, that doesn't make sense because it's quadrant 37. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, I'll just trust them. It's fine. Someone, you know what? Someone in the comments are going to write an essay about how it works, and I appreciate you. I do. Feel free. So thank you very much for joining us for season 1 of Babylon 5, and we will be back next week with the beginning of season 2. So keep watching Babylon 5. Just don't give away the homeworld.